Hey guys, it's Chelsea with Transcending Healing Mind and Body. Back for episode 3 of my story. I am outside today, so hopefully the elements cooperate. There's, of course, a car driving by at the moment, so we'll see. And a neighbor just pulled in a driveway. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I am excited to continue telling my story and be on this journey with you, no matter where you are on your journey. I just want you to know I see you and I hear you. And if at any point you have questions about what you're going through or about what I went through, please comment. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Transcending Pain. Let's connect. I'm here to help you. So again, I just rewatched the last video, and of course, a lot of things came up for me again. And my parents just recently moved. So since the last video, I inherited a file of all different types of things. So I was going through that and I came across old doctor's notes and a note I wrote my parents one time about how scared I was about the symptoms I was experiencing. My parents saved a lot of things. I'm grateful for that because it was really interesting to go through. And one of the things I found was my writing portfolio. And in the 7th grade, I think it was, I wrote an essay about, I had to write a persuasive essay. I wrote my persuasive essay about how my school was lacking in the cleanliness area and how I was sick all the time. And maybe if my school would have cleaned better, I would not be so sick all the time. So that just tells you where I was, where my head was, and how consumed I was with how sick I was all the time when I was 12 years old. So in going through the file, I also found, like I said, some doctor's notes, and I am just amazed looking through all that again. And I haven't looked through doctor's notes in years. So, and now, knowing what I know now about the mind-body connection, it's just amazing how, every time I was sick, it was medication, go see a specialist, take this medication. This drumbeat of symptoms, medication, specialist, symptoms, medication, specialist. That was just the cycle I was in. And the first time I was, I guess, sent to a specialist or referred to a specialist, it was at my first 1-month checkup. And when I was a baby, I was experiencing allergy symptoms. And when I was 5 years old, I was complaining of headaches and sore throats all the time. And when I was in the 2nd grade, I had my tonsils removed because I had strep throat all the time. Did my sore throats go away? No. I kept having sore throats. Why was that? And I wasn't necessarily diagnosed with strep throat, tonsillitis, but I kept having sore throats. There were no notes about that, about, why is it? Why is she having sore throats, even though there's no reason to explain this, right? Headaches and sore throats were a constant complaint in my doctor's notes from elementary years into my middle school years and high school years. And it's just really fascinating to me how there's just no mention, and my mother's told me there is ever no mention of the mind-body connection. And I don't ever remember being asked at the doctor, well, what's going on at school? How are you doing in school? Do you have friends at school? What is your experience like at school? When you're made fun of and you're bullied, and school is hard for that reason, like it was for me, what could that be doing? What effect could that have on me, right? So thinking back to these years of when I was really sick, I had a lot going on. I never remember learning about emotions in school. We didn't learn about emotions. We didn't learn about coping skills. We didn't learn how to advocate for ourselves. I wasn't taught these things. And now as an adult and everything I know and studying the neuroscience and the mind-body connection, everything makes sense to me, right? I just have this just sadness in my heart for that little girl who was suffering. And I don't, there's no resentment towards these people. At one point in time when I started healing, I did have, I will say, I went through this whole period of grief. I experienced anger. I experienced resentment at the doctors, at the healthcare system, at a lot of different things. I had a lot of feelings about that. But I don't blame anyone. I don't hold resentment because everyone was doing the best that they could. It's so fascinating to me how the mind and the body became so separated at some point in time. And I get why. I intellectually, logically, I can see why. I won't get into all of that, but there was no education around this. So I continued to remain in this state of just stress. And my body just, my brain and my body were on two different pages, and my brain was interpreting everything as dangerous. It kept creating these physiological symptoms in my body. And it wasn't just pain. It wasn't just headaches. It wasn't just sore throats. I also had these mental and emotional issues as well, right? So when we talk about TMS, tension myositis syndrome, tension myoneuro syndrome, mind-body syndrome, nervous system dysregulation, whatever you want to call it, when we talk about this, it applies to, it's not just chronic pain, right? So for me, my story includes anxiety and depression and OCD and these, thought patterns that would loop in my head, right? And all of that started when I was really, really young. So you just think about the worst years for me being my late teens, early 20s. It only makes sense why things continue to get worse and why they were really bad then, because the older I got, the more stress there was. And that was just putting fuel on the fire, right? So we'll get more into what happened in my teenage years next time. I'm really trying to keep these videos short. If you're anything like me, especially in my, days of very strong symptoms and early healing journey, it's hard for me to digest things, comprehend things. So I'm going to keep things short. But thanks for hanging out with me today. I look forward to continue transcending. That fly just flew in my face and kind of messed my brain up for a second. I'm not perfect, right? So I still have healing to do. So I will continue transcending pain and symptoms with you. Like I said, if you have any questions, comment, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Transcending Pain, subscribe to my channel, invite your friends. If maybe you're not suffering, but someone you know is, please send them my info. I have a huge resource page on my website, transcendingpain.com. Anyways, I look forward to hanging out with you next time. Bye.